Welcome to another story made by Oracle One. In the cold abyss of space, the research vessel Horizon drifted endlessly through the void. For months, it had been silent, its last transmission a distress signal that faded into static. Now, the Federation's most elite rescue unit, the Echo Protocol team, was dispatched to investigate the abandoned ship and salvage what they could. Little did they know the nightmare that awaited them within the frozen depths of the Horizon's hull. Commander Alara Voss led the team, her sharp eyes scanning the holographic schematics of the Horizon's interior. Behind her stood Captain Jaden Rai, a seasoned pilot with a penchant for calm under pressure, and Dr. Mira Kalin, the ship's medical officer and xenobiologist. Completing the quartet was tech specialist Rand Biran, an expert hacker with an uncanny ability to peel apart even the most secure digital defense. This mission was supposed to be a routine retrieval operation. Recover the ship's data cores, assess the cause of the blackout, and return home. Simple. But as the Echo Protocol boarded the Horizon through the airlock, the corridors greeted them with an eerie silence. The thin hum of their suits' life support systems was the only sound cutting through the darkness. The ship's emergency lighting flickered weakly, casting long shadows across the metal walls. Alara clicked on her helmet comms. "Team, proceed with caution. We don't know what caused the Horizon to go dark." Rand's eyes glimmered in the dim light as he interfaced with a panel by the door. "The mainframe is offline, but I'm getting weak signals from the cryochambers in Medical Bay." Jaden frowned. Why would the cryo units still be powered if everything else shut down? Myra's gaze sharpened. "Something's not right. Let's check it out." The team moved swiftly down the maze of corridors, following the low hum that led them to the Medical Bay. There, the heavy cryochamber doors stood frozen shut, frost clinging to the edges like a shroud. A panel blinked with faint life. Rand's fingers danced across the console, attempting to access the chambers. His eyes widened as the system unlocked with an override command. "This is strange. The cryo chambers report full occupancy status for 4 units. But our manifests don't include any patients here." Alara pulled back the door of the first chamber. Inside, bathed in an icy blue light, lay a body, still, motionless. The cryogel eyes reflected back at them from beneath the frost-coated visor. As Mira leaned closer, her breath caught. That's me." Her voice was barely a whisper. Jaden's hand instinctively went to his helmet as he opened the next chamber. His heart pounded violently when he saw the frozen figure inside, an exact replica of himself in cryostasis. Alara and Rand checked their respective chambers, their faces drained of color. It was impossible. There, encased in frozen stillness, were their own bodies. Not in stasis, but lifeless, already dead. Mira swallowed hard. "How? Why? Is this some kind of sick simulation?" Rand shook his head, confused. "The system logs say these bodies have been in cryo for over 6 months. The Horizon's last active date was 4 days ago. This doesn't add up." Alara paced, struggling to contain rising dread. "If these are our bodies, who are we? And what's really on this ship?" The quiet hum of the cryo chamber fans deepened, pulsating almost as if bearing a heartbeat. Then, an alert flared on the Medical Bay monitors. A cold, mechanical voice echoed through the speakers, calm yet chilling. "Echo Protocol recognized. Temporal displacement detected. Identity paradox established. Initiate containment breach protocol." Before they could react, the chamber glass lids suddenly hissed, releasing thick clouds of cryo fog which soaked the floor. The vapor swirled as a piercing energy surged through the room, triggering alarms. The 4 officers spun towards the sound of footsteps, soft but unmistakable, from beyond the corridor. Emerging from the smoky haze were 4 figures, exact copies of Alara, Jaden, Mira, and Ran. But these were not frozen bodies. These clones moved with fluid grace, eyes bright with life but heavy with sorrow. "You shouldn't have come here," Alara's clone said, voice identical yet strained. "This ship exists between time's fractures, between our deaths and your reality." The original Alara backed up, heart thunderous. "Explain." Now, the clone's gaze drifted to the cryochambers. "We are echoes, residual consciousness projected aboard the horizon as it collapsed under a temporal experiment gone catastrophically wrong. Our bodies are dead, trapped in cryo-fail-safes to preserve the timeline. But our minds linger, folded into this liminal space." Jaden's clone stepped forward, eyes flickering with a sad kind of understanding. "You are us, moments before the accident. But the accident fractured your existences into two timelines. Here, the echo of our survival, and there, the bodies frozen, dead. The horizon was experimenting with temporal displacement, manipulating consciousness and physical form across multiple time layers." Rand swallowed hard. "So we are ghosts trapped in a temporal rift?" "More than ghosts," Myra's clone said softly. "We're the consciousness stranded between life and death, tethered to our physical shells locked in cryostasis. This ship is a nexus for that rift, an unstable corridor where past and future collide." The original Myra's mind reeled. "We have to get out of here. If time is fracturing this way, the longer we stay, the worse it gets." "Leaving isn't so simple," Alara's clone stated gravely. "The containment breach protocol must be resolved. Otherwise, the rift will consume all probability, erasing existence itself. You must close the loop." Jaden frowned, frustration mounting. "Close the loop on what? On ourselves? How?" The clones exchanged looks. "You have a choice. A sacrifice to realign the timeline and restore temporal integrity. One timeline must end for the other to continue." Rand's clone gestured towards the cryochambers. "Destroy the chambers. Release our bodies to final death. Then, shut down the temporal experiment's fail-safe sequence from the core lab. Only then will the timeline mend, and you will remain, with the memories of us." The room's temperature dropped further, an icy chill seeping into their bones as the realization dawned. These clones were tethered to the dead versions frozen in time. To survive, the Echo Protocol team had to obliterate their past bodies, essentially sacrificing the Echoes who were holding this fractured reality intact. Alara swallowed the lump in her throat, her fingers trembling as she glanced at her frozen self. A reflection in ice, a reminder of mortality and identity suspended between dimensions. "We're committing temporal suicide," she said quietly. "Moral paradox is unavoidable," the clone countered gently. "But it is the only way forward. Without this closure, the horizon will collapse into eternal limbo, doomed to drift forever in a loop." Mira bit her lip, eyes glistening. "It's like we're erasing ourselves, or who we were, so that who we are now can live." The conversation was interrupted by a violent shudder through the hull as the ship struggled against the rift's gravitational pull. Alarms blared and the air grew thin. "We have no time," Jaden said grimly. "Ran, get the demolition charges ready. Mira, oversee the shutdown of the fail-safe controls. Alara and I will handle the chambers." The team moved with determination, adrenaline raging under cold fear. They approached the chambers, each step heavy with strange grief. Alara prepared the charges, fingers trembling slightly as the icy glass glinted in the dim light. Rand's fingers flew over the core lab controls, overriding the failing systems. Initiating fail-safe sequence termination in T-60 seconds, his voice resonated with steely focus. Mira monitored the data stream through the display, watching the energy fluctuations spiral dangerously out of control. "This rift is destabilizing faster than anticipated. We must be precise. With a final nod from Alara, the charges detonated, and ice fractured, shards cascading like crystal tears into vapor. The frozen bodies dissolved into nothingness, the last anchor to the divergent timeline severed. Immediately, the horizon shuddered violently, space and time twisting around them as a bright flash engulfed the room. When the light faded, the team found themselves slumped in their EVA suits, floating weightlessly in the now silent medical bay. The cryochambers were gone, replaced by smooth panels. The ship's systems beeped, booting up with renewed clarity. Alara touched her helmet, voice steady but filled with awe. Is everyone intact? One by one, confirmations came. Rand's eyes were wide as he checked the data logs. The timeline is stable. The rift is closing. Mira exhaled deeply. We did it. The Echo Protocol worked. Jaden looked around the now brimming corridors. The horizon's haunting silence was replaced by a faint hum of life support. Normalcy returning to a ship that had almost vanished from reality. Let's get back to the ship, Alara ordered. And file this mission as classified. The truth is more than anyone should know. As they prepared to depart, Alara paused before the viewing port, gazing into the void where existence reassumed its natural flow. She thought of the frozen bodies, the echoes that had vanished to allow life to continue, and of the strange gift of survival amidst the chaos of time. In the endless expanse of the cosmos, time was a fragile thread. And with the Echo Protocol, they had learned that to save themselves, sometimes you had to lose parts of yourself. Ghosts lost to the void, so others could live. For more stories, like and subscribe.